thank you for joining me for another episode of Talk the Torque. I'm Desh Bechin, and I'm so thrilled to be chatting with my next guest, Rikus Blomerus, the Head of Marketing and HR at WeBuyCars. Rikus is said to possess a great leadership style which focuses on problem solving and team dynamics that are so much more to him than self-promotion. His key to success is his positive attitude, lead by example outlook, and the fact that he rallies his team no matter the circumstances. It's this inherent positivity that helps react to situations with a calm, collected manner and focus on solutions rather than on problems. High praise has been sung about Rikus from both Van and Dirk van der Walt, owners of WeBuyCars, and the very same two gentlemen that has always been championing for my causes and who firmly believes that women in motoring should be celebrated and recognized as well as elevated in their respective roles. And this is exactly what they practice. They really do practice what they preach at their organization. Rikus echoes these sentiments as well. Hence, I have invited him to join me in further reiterating the significance of the woman in motoring South Africa. So, let's welcome Rikus. And as always, this interview is proudly brought to you by Sariti Solutions. Hello, Rikus.
Hi, Desh. Thank you very much for a very nice intro.
Well, it was true, right? Because it was told to me about you, so I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, it should be true.
Well, Rikus, I know that it's been a very busy few weeks with the launch of, the official launch of the amazing WeBuyCars Dome. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, Desh, so the Dome has been operational since the 16th of December, and we felt like we should open it early for the public, and we needed the space to park and sell some of our vehicles. But the official launch, when everything gets together and we're done with all of the alterations and stuff that we had to do around the dome, was only on the 23rd of March. And then we invited, it was in closed function where we invited close partners that has a good relationship with WeBuyCars. On the guest list, I could think of people from the industry that we partner with, Outsurance, Netstar, the major banks, Desh, of course, yes. And then also, it was very nice to have the Blitzbook team who we're sponsoring there as well. Yeah, so it was an amazing function, and we had all the guests together just having a nice time and celebrating the fact that we opened the dome. And we did not only celebrate the fact that we opened the dome, we also celebrated the fact that we opened four other warehouses during the COVID period as well, which we could not have functions for due to COVID regulations.
Rikus, can I ask you what inspired Van and Dirk especially, and you and the team to do this? Correct me if I'm wrong. I've been saying this to all my friends, okay, that the Dome and this institution is the biggest in the world. Am I right by saying that?
Yeah, we well, as far as we know, it's definitely the biggest in used vehicle dealership in Africa. About the world. We actually applied for to get recognized by the Guinness World Book of Records as the biggest used dealership in the world, and they did let us know that there is a dealership in China that might be bigger, but we will still.
Okay, this is China. We can't really now, but for me, it's the biggest in the world. Okay.
In our world, it's the
yes,
biggest.
in our world. Yeah. Well, that is a huge accomplishment. It really is. And you know what? I might be biased in terms of the way I come across, in terms of speaking about WeBuyCars, but you know that I am very passionate about the leadership or the people that started WeBuyCars, Fawn and Dirk. They are such amazing people in my life and in my growth. So hence that is why I'm always, like they championing for me, I'm always singing their praises. But that is why I've invited you, Rikus, so that we can literally just talk about WeBuyCars, and you've been involved as well in the Motoring Woman of the Year Awards, and I just want to talk a little bit about that. So please tell our viewers and followers more about your career in motoring South Africa, and let's start with them getting to know you.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate to actually start my motoring career at WeBuyCars. So previous to WeBuyCars, I came out of an FMCG background, and I joined WeBuyCars in 2017 as the head of HR. And I just fell in love with the company and the industry, and it's so exciting and dynamic. And I just grew this passion for WeBuyCars, and eventually decided to put my hand up and also to get involved in the marketing of WeBuyCars. So I've been doing that for the past year now as well, along with the HR portfolio. And it's a company where I can see my own values matching up to the company's values. And WeBuyCars is a company that constantly challenges the status quo and to do things better and to really focus on service delivery and focus on the customers. Yes, we sell a large amount of vehicles every month, and there is going to be some unhappy customers, but our motto has always been to be better today than we were yesterday. And I think it's going to take a process and time, not only for WeBuyCars, but for the whole motor industry to really get to a level where people talk about the service delivery in the entire motor industry.
Right. And you obviously moved or shifted focus from HR to marketing, and you're really enjoying this. And I believe one of WeBuyCars' success or attributes to the success is marketing. I know Dirk heads up marketing as well, or used to. But what is your secret to success?
Yes,
you're all over the place. I mean, even if you're driving on the freeway, you hear WeBuyCars, and then you go home and you see on TV WeBuyCars, and then when you're driving back onto the freeway, you see billboards WeBuyCars.
Yes, Desh. I think marketing in WeBuyCars is a collective effort. You mentioned Dirk's name, and Dirk is very involved, but also Fawn is very involved in marketing. And Fawn gives a lot of input and say, let's try this on radio, let's do this billboard and so forth. But despite that, there's also a big marketing team in WeBuyCars, and the aim of the marketing team is to get the message out there. And we've been doing so for the last couple of years to really build a name for WeBuyCars. And when the consumer thinks of selling their car, they should think of no other place than WeBuyCars to sell their car. And it's been working for us. And because consumers then sell their cars to us, we've got a stock available. And then it's easier to market the large numbers of stock that we've got available on our floors. But yes, it's a collective effort, and we constantly think about how we can educate the consumer and tell them more about WeBuyCars and get them to really trust WeBuyCars and make use of our services.
So, Rikus, according to many of your colleagues and members of your team, WeBuyCars are an incredible advocate, or they are advocates and catalysts for change in the motoring trade. What motivates and inspires this?
Yeah, Desh, I think it's a very important topic to discuss, and it is things that we like, these hard conversations that we have to have. But at the end of the day, when we look at our consumers, if we look at the demographics in South Africa, and we see, okay, but this is the percentage women, and this is the percentage Indian women, or black women, and white women, and white males and white females, we have to be cognitive about it, and we have to understand what does the consumer look like, and we have to relay that message into our teams as well. And it's very important to make sure that the person that's sitting in our team understands how the person on the other side might feel and might perceive things. So with this change, and to make sure that we we not only comply with legislation, but really more comply with customer service, and get more input and get more diverse point of views into our business. That is what drives the change, and it comes back to being a better business, to being a better version of WeBuyCars, to being a better motor industry than we used to be in the past. So there's a lot of problems of the past that still hangs on today, and we have to sort it out over time. And the only way that we're going to do it is by recognizing the change and then driving the change from our side.
Absolutely, because I must say, I do workshops throughout the country. I visit dealerships, and many a times we invite girls from the community or from the schools, matriculants, and the dealer principal will then ask me, I've seen your last workshop, can't we get some of the men and women of our dealership to sit in? And I'm like, yes, we've got to do this. We talked about diversity and inclusivity. I think it's so important that we, or myself that's driving these campaigns, include the men to stand in solidarity with women to achieve this, because who better than you, or who better than the fans of the world and the Brad Capitals of Motoring South Africa to help me drive this change and allow the young and upcoming male, especially male, it's still, in fact, I actually got the demographics from WeBuyCars, from one of your employees, and she sent it to me the other day, and she said, Desh, do you know we still have only 82,000 women in the trade, and we have 304,000 men, and we need to balance the scales. And you talked about how will we be able to service the consumer if we do not know their understanding, their thinking, their mindset. Same in the industry itself, or in the workforce, how are you at top level management able to make decisions for the woman working in your institution if you are not a woman? So the balancing of scales need to happen at top level management as well. I'm taking this opportunity because this is going to be shared on WeBuyCars, so we can reach more people. So thank you for that opportunity to reiterate the importance of women in ownership. Like actually Fana and Dirk's sister at Atterbury Motors, it's so refreshing to know that we have women that's coming into ownership and coming into management positions that can welcome the future generation of women in motoring South Africa. Because as you said, the consumer now is, am I right by saying it's over 50% women?
Yes.
There we go. Yeah. So that's where we need to be at, okay? So in saying that, what words of advice can you give to young women out there that are wanting to get into the industry? This is a two-part question, okay? Yeah. And what advice can you offer to women that are trying to move up the ranks in their respective dealerships in South Africa?
100%. So I think there's no better time than now for young women to come into the industry. Because there's companies like WeBuyCars and others that's hungry for talented women, that wants to employ these talented women in their companies and want them to come and make a difference. So I think it would start with knowledge. Knowledge is always power. So I think a motivated lady in today's world should just gather knowledge and make sure that they're the best in their specific field, because the motor industry is also so wide. You can do anything. You can apply to motoring. PR you can apply to motoring. Accounting you can apply to motoring. Marketing, HR, finance. There's everything you can come into in the motoring industry. So I think first of all is knowledge, and then to answer the second part of the question, I've seen men and women succeeding and not succeeding in businesses, especially in WeBuyCars. And I think the one common denominator for me is attitude. And I think the people that succeed at the end of the day is the people with the right and the positive attitude, as you said in the beginning. And people that wants to make a difference, that wants to contribute instead of just complaining the whole day, rather doing something about the stuff that the other peoples are complaining about. So I think that's very important for someone that wants to move up to realize that sooner rather than later.
Right. And again, I'd like to reiterate and I'd like to reinforce what you just said. I think the cornerstone to wanting that equality and wanting the fair or the opportunities, you need to educate yourself. You need to be ambitious. You need to be determined. I mean, you know, and I say this at my my workshops. For me, moving up the ranks, or for me, reaching for my dream in a very male-dominated industry as the only Indian female qualified motoring journalist in South Africa, was literally a sheer, I wouldn't say a sheer privilege, but I am highly blessed to not be or not regret being born a girl child, only because I worked hard, only because I was determined. I sat in media rooms with the top motoring journalists, couldn't speak the language. Literally, I used to speak Saber Afrikaans. I couldn't even speak 5 words of Afrikaans. And then also, aside from that, the gender discrimination. But I fought through that. I found a way, and I made sure that that was not going to be an obstacle. So it is so important just to reinforce, like I said, what you said. It's and I think I'm going to take this from an HR perspective, yes, because that is your expertise, and it's coming from someone that is leading one of the biggest motoring organization in South Africa. So it is important, as you said, that the women in your organization, the reason that they are moving up the ranks is because of them. It is not because they are women. Exactly. It's because they are capable. It is because you, as an institution and top level management, are recognizing. And I must also again say that Rikus off air said to me, Desh, I know that you might know someone. So he practices what he preaches. He said, we're looking for an HR director or HR manager, and I want her to be female. So there we go. I mean, this is something you're trying to drive very forcefully. Yeah. So what advice can you offer other men, okay, in the industry to help them motivate women into these leadership roles?
Yeah, I think it's important for men to realize the benefits, and we've discussed the benefits in depth throughout the interview thus far, and I think having a woman in your team brings different perspective, and it enables you to connect on a different level with a large amount of your customers. As we said, more than 50% of customers is women, and also there where men buy or sell vehicles, we know it's guaranteed that women were involved in the decision. Yes. At some point. Someone would have asked a mother or a sister or a wife or a girlfriend for an opinion on buying or selling a vehicle. So it's definitely, and even there where some men buy vehicles, they just buy it because they want to impress women. So it's important to know what women like, and right, to understand that. And as soon as men realize the benefit of the opinion and the input and the expertise of women, they will also benefit from it in the long run, because then we can really see change in the industry. We can really see the motor industry having there's a lot of bad rep around the motor industry due to certain companies doing certain things. There's a lot of good companies in the motor industry, but there's certain companies that gives the motor industry a bad name. And I think by being proactive and embracing changes like this, we can bring a different dynamic to the motor industry. And I think that's one of the tools to get there, where we change the views around the motor industry in South Africa dramatically, and men has to realize that women is the vehicle to be able to do that.
Absolutely. I must say, Rikus, as well, that when I started in the trade more than a decade ago, the narrative was very different. It was, and I use that figure, that demographic, it's 80% decision makers contributing to the buying of a vehicle. And I think at that point it was only 23% to 24% of women buying cars. And when I got the stats last year, I think it was from Deloitte, at my event, and I said, oh my gosh, it's 54% of women buying cars, or transactions that are being processed are 54% women. So that's absolutely amazing, that we're not just a contributing decision maker, but we are actually buying the cars. And it really is such an empowering feeling to know that is what's happening. And let me just say, it's such a wonderful time to be alive. It really is. So even though it's still a very male dominated industry, what would you like to say to the young women that are passionate about motoring, and the young women, the matriculants, the kids. I mean, I think 10% of our viewers are young girls, because we go out to schools and they're sharing this. So what would you like to say to them?
Yes, I think it's important for them to know that there's already been a lot of women that were successful in the motor industry, and there's catalysts of people like you, Desh, that made it easier for women like that wants to go into the motor industry now. It's important to know that there's opportunity in the motor industry for them. They can have successful careers in the motor industry, and it's a fun industry to be in. It's a great industry to be in, especially in these times. And when they're studying something, they should always consider the motoring industry, because I know we've had challenges like that before, where we're actively trying to recruit women, and they're not considering the motor industry about the perception around the motor industry that it's male dominated, like some of the other industries like mining or construction or so forth is male dominated. But we must understand that this predominantly historically male-dominated industry is now busy transforming into a industry where we create opportunities for all, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities if you apply your mind right.
Absolutely, because we need to balance those skills. And furthermore, I must say that Women Talk, which was an online motoring magazine, is now, we've focused our attention. We're starting a new network. We've already formalized the network along with Stride Consulting, Wynand Stradum is my partner, and we are offering more advice, online conferences, inclusion in terms of advice coming from the OEMs, from a journalistic point of view. I always talked about the mental health issues that's still happening in the motoring trade, where women feel discriminated against. We are opening our lines for you to reach out to us free of charge, in terms of being advised in situations like that. And also we are advising on legal or legislation in terms of your rights as a female or a woman employee. So we are taking this to the next level. It's going to be amazing, and as you said, now is the time, and I always say this: if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? But now is the time that we have to drive this. We need, just like WeBuyCars drive their mottos and their billboards, we want to be there as well. We want to drive this initiative so that more women can enter the space and can empower, because I mean, who better to make an institution like WeBuyCars or any dealership successful? Who better to do that than an educated and empowered woman, right?
Yeah.
So basically, you talked about the launch, which I'm so excited about. I mean, speaking about the dome like it's my own, but so excited about them. What is WeBuyCars' future plans? Is there a 5-year plan for you guys? I know you are going international. Take me with, please. But yeah, what's the plans?
Yeah, so basically, we believe that there's more opportunity within South Africa as well. So I don't want to call it more of the same, but essentially it is more of the same. So being in more cities, more metros, having large dealerships where we not only serve the communities but also serve the motoring industry. We've got a lot of motor dealers purchasing stock from us as well. So running on that business model, improving customer service, looking at different value adds for our customers. And then, as you said, another big one for us is international. We recently went to Morocco, started on a very small scale. The reason why we want to do the international is purely because we feel like our business model in South Africa is working so well, and we've invested a lot of time and effort into systems and processes and so forth. So it would be the logical next step to go and duplicate it in another company where there's opportunity or in another country where there's opportunity for us to really go and make a difference in their motor industry, and to identify certain things that might be done different in the motor industry, because that's essentially what WeBuyCars did. Is if you think of many years ago, there was no easy way to sell your car quickly, and WeBuyCars came as a service where we bought your vehicle from you wherever, whenever you are, and it changed the landscape of the motor industry in a way, and we can also do so in another country.
Gosh, and I did test you, by the way. I got one of my ladies to phone you. She's sitting in studio, and literally you called back within 10 minutes, right? So I mean, and made an offer, and it works. So yeah, like I said, I might sound a bit biased. I am very passionate. I'm very close to the owners of WeBuyCars, I would think, and they've always been champions for my causes, always trying to drive my initiative through their word, being here as well. They've been here, and I just wish you all the very best, Rikus. Thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule, joining me and enlightening my viewers about WeBuyCars. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Is there anything you want to add?
No, thanks a lot from my side as well, Desh, and thank you for your contribution towards the motor industry. I really think you leave it as a better place.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Viewers, thank you for watching, commenting, and sharing our interviews and content. Our non-profit companies, the Motoring Woman of the Year Awards, powered by MFC and Evo by Nedbank, and the Talk the Torque Studios, powered by Sariti Solutions, are aimed at recognizing and celebrating the women of motoring South Africa. We are not just telling stories, we are changing lives together. We aim to empower and uplift the women of our trade. For those of you that are searching for your new ride, please visit www.otto.evo.africa. We have thousands of vehicles on sale for you to choose from, and we only advertise on behalf of reliable and trustworthy MFC accredited dealerships. This car listing portal is incredibly user-friendly, and you can also find vehicle reviews and car maintenance tips and advice, all courtesy of Talk the Torque Studios. Ladies, I just want to leave you with a little bit food for thought in terms of success. So, success does not always occur right away. So it is essential that you remain patient and continue to put in effort, even if you do not see immediate results. And I think Rikus can attest to that. WeBuyCars started over 20 years ago, right? And it was through patience and determination and resilience that WeBuyCars is where they are today. So a good example of this is starting a new, I would say, workout routine. You won't instantly see a difference or feel stronger, but if you have patience and continue to exercise, the results will follow. Additionally, if you pursue certification to increase your skills and knowledge in your industry, which we also talked about a little bit earlier on, education is key, education is power. It's not just a cliche, it is true. It may eventually help you get a better job or move up the ranks, or stay committed to seeing your dreams and your aspirations come to life. And on that note, I would like to remind you that the question should never be who's going to let me. It should always be who's going to stop me.